More Horus action for you. I've loved watching this deck. Marincess takes the water, Sky Striker, and more meta. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. What in the world is this? So basically, you're doing your standard Horus base rank 8 toolbox options here. But instead of playing Light and Darkness Dragon, we're opting to play Christia and Vanity's Ruler. And I mean, Vanity's Ruler is very good because obviously it's just your opponent that can't special summon, which means your little Horus friends can keep popping on back on future turns here, so you can do your thing. I see we're also playing a Jet Synchron in here for some basic revivability, and we're playing a Satellite Synchron in here as well. If a monster is special summoned from your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Well, don't mind if I do. My free little Horus monster just popped on back out of the graveyard, waving at me going, "What's up, man? How are you?" Just going to be able to do some full combo line. Now, I also see here this build is playing Volcanic Shells. Now, you might not want to hear this because Shell might not be the greatest thing that you're going to want to play, but this card at least gives you some filtering options for the deck. I also see here that we're playing a Blaster in here as well. I mean, technically, I mean, you get through your shells and you see a Blaster. I mean, this is also discard fodder for, you know, your King Sarcophagus play. We're also not doing the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. I do like the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation plays. It is kind of cool to see the little ideas that you can try to do with it, but that appears not to be what we're focusing on here. We're going down basically, you know, what you want to be seeing here, and then Skill Drain blowing out your opponent. It's pretty normal stuff, I feel like, at this point, where you want to be seeing. Also, Mask of Restrict, of all things. I mean, I guess this technically stops you from having your stuff ripped away off of your field, you know, so mission accomplished in that regard. See, we also have the Imperial Iron Walls as well. This duelist did not want to have their fields messed with in any sort of capacity, and I find that actually pretty freaking cool to see, you know, what we're dealing with here, so good stuff. All right, Marincess. Whoo, man. It has been far too long since we have seen people out here with any sort of Marincess, I would say, innovations at this point. It's not to say that this deck is, like, gone off onto the wayside and that it's, you know, dead. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that if you're looking at Marincess innovations right now and you're like, wow, you know, how are we going to play this? I mean, you still will. So the build is only playing one copy of the Battle Ocean. I can still see an argument for pushing for 2, but you should be able to search this in a majority of your combo to get things going. We're also only playing 2 dive. I think most builds have been pushing for 2 dive for a very long time. To be honest with you, you can try 3, but I mean, you can only do 1 per turn anyway, so it's inherently not like it really matters. You're still not going to get the additional ones resolving out here, you know what I mean? We're also only focusing on 2 waves. To me, this is a little bit interesting, but I want, once again, you're trying to optimize, and you have to play more hand traps this format. You can't just try to play this deck and be like, well, you know, I'm going to get away with, like, no hand traps. No, you got to stick to being able to play the consistent cards that help your deck do its thing. And right now, those cards are going to be in the form of the 18 hand traps, actually 3, 6, 9, 12, you know, 15, 18 that you're packing in here. Yeah, you don't have much of a choice. Also, this build did opt for some interesting things. You're playing 1 Rivalry, 1 Monster Reborn in here as well, and you are focusing on 2 Pot of Desires in here for draw power as well. So you've got genuinely a lot of interesting things going for you for a build like this. I'm very happy to see that somehow, some way, that innovations with this deck are still continuing on, and that people are trying some of these things. Good stuff. Oh, man, Sky Striker. You know, I was starting to wonder the other day. I was like, you know, what do we have to do at this point to get Sky Striker to be a functioning deck right now? Like, what do we have to do? And to be honest with you, I mean, 12 hand traps, that's pretty normal at this point. You are playing... You have to make some decisions when looking at Striker. And I guess those decisions are, you're going to have to main deck a lot of disruptible cards. Very honestly not surprised to not see like maybe Dark Hole or Raigekis being explored in this deck as like genuine going second options. We've seen some builds that were pushing things like Raigeki in the main, which is kind of cool, I suppose. You are doing the double desires with the triple Upstart Goblin. This is actually pretty normal. Before someone's like, you're playing 41, you're playing Striker. You are, no matter what, you're going to want to focus on having Upstart Goblins in the main deck here because they're an extra spell in the graveyard every single time, so you can start getting that draw power up and running, all right? Like, it's very easy to understand that you want as much draw power as you physically can to get things going here. And of course, as per most of these side deck degeneracy options out here, you're going to try to play some cards to cheese win your opponent in time because based on current rules of Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't really have much of a choice. Also, with buy steals being a little bit less relevant right now, you can still get away with playing the one rose, the triple ray. Actually, this is fine. I also see that we are side decking Hamp as well. So, you do have access to your little searchable kaiju as you need it. And I mean, hey, sometimes maybe you free draw one immediately afterwards, just so you can go ahead and start getting your combo lines rolling. That is pretty much it. No thrust in the main deck, by the way. I find that a little bit interesting, too. But, I mean, double tack talents here should probably be able to cover a majority of what you want it to here. All right. These Centurion innovations, as we're going to call it. So, this deck is still 150% the King Calamity Turbo Special. All right. But one thing that we've been seeing a lot of these builds pushing to do is they've been trying out Wakashi and the super heavy samurai cards to set up some little consistency options for the deck to be able to put some other plays on the table. I also do see that we are playing a Tilting Entertainment in here. On synchro summoning special, summon a level 4 lower pendulum monster from your hand or face up from your extra deck. So this does put an extender back onto the field here. And, guess what? The Tilting Entertainment gives you another tuner monster. So suddenly, now we can hard make Legatia here along the way if we really need to. Or, if we need to, motorbike up and possibly make the Baron the floor here. This being a level 2 tuner monster actually helps out the consistency of this deck quite a lot. Now, your hand trap ratio, I mean, you're doing 3, 6, 9, 11. Can't really, or no, you're doing 14 hand traps here, and plus these, plus 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 17 total. And then we don't even have a side deck present for this, so they could have been rotating in even more. One other interesting thing here is I see that we are playing the Infernal Flame Banshee here. Being able to also have this for side decking options to be able to take a Pyro for this is actually pretty good. You gotta, when you're looking at a deck like this, you gotta appreciate just the little intricacies that you can do. Also, your 2 level 4 monsters combining together to make the Merrymaker into the Sargass to pull out the Regulus, so you can have the Walking, Talking, Negate, is actually pretty important as well. So don't underestimate the options that you get in a deck like this. And our last list here, we have some Raid Raptor here, and Kali King Yuga? No Kali King Yuga. Haha, yeah, I remember. I still remember. I say this every one of these videos. Kali King Yuga is going to be the best thing ever for this deck, said the entire community, and the deck evolved in a way that, you're doing a lot of things. And what's interesting about this list to me is we're only playing one Rising Rebellion Falcon. I feel like most of these builds right now that are kind of running around trying out these different lines of play, we have seen multiple Rising Rebellions. Now, this build is also playing an Air Raid in here. We're kind of getting into some interesting territory here with the more off numbers. Most of these builds are obviously, they're like Arsenal, Falcon, Substarter, Go. But this one kind of trying out some of the other little options here, which I'm not saying this is bad, all right? It's just I feel like you do want to try to have the double Rising Rebellion Falcon in here. You're also doing the Arc Rebellion, Xyz Dragon, little OTK package in here as well. You have some interesting little lines of play available to you. Not every Raid Raptor deck is going to be fundamentally the same. You do have your little deviations. That's why Kali King Yuga does exist. That's why, you're trying things like this in the deck. And of course, diverging away from the Rising Rebellion Falcons, trying to see what different ratios and things that you can try to explore. I think that's fine in the world of deck building. You got to make sure you get the ratios down for the most optimized numbers. So, that is everything that we have for you today out of these decks. I genuinely like what I'm seeing. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.